This week on the Analog Circle podcast, Death Stranding 2 is getting a few new updates. We get an early look at some specs for Project Helix and PS5, and we get a chance to actually pair the two up against each other to see which one is more powerful, allegedly. Could another GTA 6 hack be happening in the near future? Well, we definitely got some news on that situation. And Days Gone developer Sony Bend is hiring for their next project. But all of these stories can be found here and more in episode 277 of the Analog Circle podcast. I am your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and welcome to the show. Come on in, sit down, and relax, because we're going to have a great conversation today. And if you're traveling, hopefully, we can accompany you to your destination. Now, as always, if you want to be a part of the next listener feedback, which is actually getting a little stacked, shout out to y'all brothers out there. You can either do it two different ways. You can call in at 667-284-9057 and let your voice be heard. Or you can email the show, and the email address is simply theanalogcirclepodcast@gmail.com. Now, with that being said, guys, you know I got to ask y'all the question of the week. I know you see it. I know you're staring at it right now on your phone or on your computer. So let's go over it officially. The question is, has the PS5 been graphically maxed out? Here it is. We're in year 6. And we got games like Crimson Desert coming out. Resident Evil 9 is looking incredible on the PlayStation 5 Pro. We got GTA 6 coming out later on this year. We got Pragmata coming out this year. We got Omnimushu coming out sometime this year. I mean, it's a lot of graphical games that are releasing this year that can really test the chin of these consoles, mainly PlayStation 5. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I feel like it's still a lot more left underneath the hood. And shout out to AB. We had a great conversation. I really appreciate that, brother. Shout out to him. But we were just talking back and forth. And I was truly saying, I just think that it's a lot more that they can do. We're just ditching PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. That generation is finally being put on the back burner, pretty much non-existent when it comes to these two console manufacturers. So I'm just saying to myself, I think it's a lot more that can be done. Here it is. We're getting the talks about the PlayStation 6. Xbox Project Helix is already out there making its rounds. You know, Jason Ronald, he's talking to the people, letting the developers know what they can kind of expect when it comes to this product. I'm just saying to myself, I wouldn't mind if we rocked out until about, I would say, man, again, I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. I think we should rock out to like 2030 with these.
Move this man!
What, God dog? I'm just saying, I think that it's a lot more left under the hood. You name me a game. I want y'all, check this out. Name me a game that you feel is really pushing the PlayStation 5's hardware, even the Xbox Series X, that hardware. Name a game that is pushing these consoles today. I think they still got a lot left. When I see games like Horizon, Forbidden West, jeez, me Christmas. I'm talking about I'm in the air, I'm on land, and I'm literally in the sea, diving down in the sea. getting different trinkets and all kinds of stuff, man. I've been playing that Burning Shores. Oh my gosh, man, forget about life. That game is beautiful, god dog. Absolutely remarkable looking. And then you topple that with games like Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Ratchet and Clank, God of War Ragnarok. I still don't know why people dislike that game. That game is amazing. Story-wise, gameplay-wise, voice acting, it has all of the bells and whistles. Boss fights is amazing. It is just one of those kind of games. So when you got those kind of graphics, man, and we still don't know what Naughty Dog is going to be able to do with this. Here it is. We got Insomniac coming out with Wolverine later on this year. Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out later on this year. Now, that game right there, that might be the pinnacle. That might be it. GTA 6 might be the game to max the PlayStation 5 out totally when it comes to the graphics. And I'm sure that if the reports are true, that these consoles are these new consoles are making their way out next year, I would not doubt it at all that Rockstar puts Grand Theft Auto 6 on that generation as well. Oh, they're about to eat good, man. These jokers are about to eat healthily when it comes to these consoles and the sales. So, but that's my question. I don't want to get too long-winded with this. Has the PS5 been graphically maxed out? I would love to get you guys' thoughts. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and let's get into what we all come here for. And that is no doubt the gaming news that went down. So like I described just a couple of seconds ago, you know, we got some of the specs, these alleged specs of the PlayStation 6 and the Xbox Project Helix. So these are the specs that WCCF Tech is reporting on. Now, granted, I want to put this caveat out there. This is not a report that WCCF Tech is writing themselves. They are going off of two sources, one of them being MLID and the other one being Kepler, spelled Kepler 2. These are the figures that they have come out with. Now, again, these are not official numbers. So just keep that in mind. This is not something that PlayStation has come out and said that these are the specs, nor Xbox. So this is just what they believe are going to be the specs for each console. So for the PlayStation 6, as far as the process node goes, and again, I do want to put this caveat out there for myself, I don't know what even a quarter of this stuff means. So you guys report back to me and let me know how good these specs actually are. So PS6, the process node, is going to have a TSMC N2 nanometer. Did I say that right? Nanometer? Man, that joke, I'm going to just say NM. Yeah, 2 nanometer joint inside of it. And for the Project Helix, it's going to have a TSMC N3P 3 nanometer. Man, y'all know what up. God dog. Y'all know what I'm trying to say, doggone. All right, so here we got the die size. That's going to be 280 millimeters. I'm taking it mm. For the PlayStation 6 and for the Xbox Project Helix, it's going to be 408 millimeters. Man, that's a pretty nice size gap. Now, as far as the CPU goes, PS6 is supposed to have a 8 times Zen C6C, okay? And Helix is going to have a 3 times Zen 6 plus, god dog, 8 times Zen 6C hybrid. Yeah, I don't know what the heck that is. That whole lot of doggone numbers. But let's continue. Now for the CPU clock, PS6 is going to have a 4 to 5 gigahertz CPU clock, and Project Helix is going to have at least 5 gigahertz, but likely 5.5 to 6 gigahertz. That's a nice little gap there as well. Now for the GPU, they're saying that the PS6 is going to have a 54 RDNA 5 CUs. I think that's compute units. And for the Project Helix, that's going to have 36 to 48 GDDR7 TBC. I don't know what that is. Okay. Now the memory bandwidth, and we're almost at the end of this. The PS6 is going to have 640 gigabytes, 160-bit bus, and the Helix is going to have a TBC 192-bit bus. Oh, that's a nice difference as well. Now the restoration for the PlayStation 6 is going to be 3 times PS5, 34 to 40 teraflops. And the Helix is going to have 5 to 6 times Xbox Series X. Very, very interesting. Now, ray tracing on the PlayStation 6 is going to be 6 to 12 times the PS5. And for Xbox, is going to be 20 times more than the Xbox Series X. Now, the target output, and this is the most interesting part about this whole article and this breakdown, is they are both targeting 4K 120 hertz. Well, actually, I got to make a correction there, because for the Xbox, it's saying they are targeting 4K 120 hertz plus. Man, God, dog, talking about running the game over 120 frames a second? God, dog, that is the thing. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that. I think I spent more time on that than I should have, especially since these are not even official specs. But what I will say is, and the talk is the Xbox is going to be the more powerful console, and it's going to be the most or more expensive console as well. We're talking about bare minimum $1,000 for this thing, possibly $1,200, and maybe the PlayStation 6 maybe stays around $700. It might go $800. Ooh, if it goes $800 though, oh, that's going to burn a little bit. I'm hoping they stay at about $700 is a good spot for me. Anything over that, oh man, I start twitching just a little bit. But even if, this is the thing, even if the PlayStation 6 isn't as powerful, if it gets remotely close to what this Xbox PC hybrid can do, that is a win in my book, because you are supposed to be blowing the PS6's doors off, where it is no comparison. And I thought that was going to be the same thing that happened this generation when the PS5 and the Xbox Series X came out, and they had their first head-to-head, and they locked up with each other on Digital Foundry, with DMC5 being the first game that they both had a head-to-head on. Man, it was fireworks. We were all sitting, waiting for that thing to happen. And when we found out that the PlayStation 5 version was better, I said, brother, you got to be kidding me. Man, I was hurt. I said, what the heck is going on? You're supposed to be more stronger than this. Xbox, God, dog. Man, then they start losing more and more battles. I said, darn, this is really, really bad. So, yeah, we all thought that the Series X was going to be unbelievable when it came to what it was able to do. Now, granted, I've been on record saying this, and I'm not going to turn my back on what I said because then that would be being disingenuous. I remember saying that the Series S held back the Series X something criminally. I mean, it was criminal in my mind, but everybody else said, no, it's not holding it back. No, you can't blame the S. They can make a way to work around that, and it doesn't have to interfere with what's going on with the X. I'm like, man, I don't believe that because these results are bad at times. This is just some bad results. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe this time, hopefully, oh my gosh, man. Hopefully they will not hold on to last generation or this generation forever like they did, you know, in this generation. Hopefully they will cut it off a little bit sooner because, man, it seems like after a while, it starts to really affect what you got going on. But again, it is what it is. We'll have to see what happens with this. But the only thing I can say after saying all of that, but to wrap this up, we can only wait and see what happens. That's ultimately all we have to go off of is when these two consoles, console hybrid and console, come out to see what happens when they actually go head to head. But I am here. I'm here for all of it. I can't wait for it to start. We see that Xbox, they're getting started early. And PlayStation, I'm sure they are not too far behind. Maybe we'll start hearing some stuff rev up towards the end of the year for PlayStation into 2027 and get some more information. But only time will tell. Let's go ahead, though, guys, and let's get into the next story. And this story I got from Nintendo Everything. So this was actually something that GameStop said. GameStop, they made an announcement about retro consoles, where they have, quote, issued an official declaration, end of quote, that the Wii U, Xbox 360, and PS3 are now considered retro consoles. And as a result of this, if you decide to trade in any of those consoles, you'll get an additional 10% trade-in credit. Now, the thing is, if you do want to get that 10% bonus credit, you'll have to trade your console in very, very soon, because I'm recording this on March 18th. You have until March 21st to make up your mind if you want to get rid of your 360, your PS3, or your Wii U. Now, the other thing that I want to let you guys know is GameStop is also now accepting defective consoles. So they said as long as your console can power on, they will take it. So just keep that in mind if you're trying to get a couple of extra bucks, because you know that them jokers going to give you about $4 for your 360. I mean, it is absolutely criminal, some of the things that they do sometimes. But, you know, all of this stuff goes back to business. I don't agree with the business tactics, but I can't say that I've ever truly had a real major beef with GameStop, because, I mean, for me, I don't really trade in my games either, to be fair. I remember at one point in time, maybe I had tried to trade in my games back when they weren't even called GameStop. They were called, I think it was Funco Land. They used to be called out on Route 40 West here in Baltimore. I think it was Funco Land. We would go there and trade in games there. They had the gaming stations hooked up where you could play all of the different game systems. They even had Dreamcast hooked up in there. I remembered seeing NFL 2K football when I walked in there into Funco Land. I was like, man, this looks like real TV. It was incredible. Oh, I got a story for y'all about Dreamcast. Just a minute. Let me finish up with GameStop real quick. But again, Yeah, if you're interested in trading in your consoles, make sure you do it quickly to get that 10% by March 21st. But man, what an era. The 360, the PS3, Wii U, not so much. I mean, I do have the Wii U up on my, man, matter of fact, the Wii U didn't even make it up on the shelf, I don't think. I got the Wii up here. Yeah, the Wii U, the Wii, not the Wii U. The Wii is up on the shelf. Yeah, the Wii U didn't even make it up on the shelf, man. Doggone, I got it. I got it in the closet. But yeah, what a time though, man. It was a great, man, that was a great time in gaming. Good gracious. Yeah, the HD era, the early stages of that. It was awesome, man. But just for the sake of time, I don't want to harp on that too much. What I want to talk about is something that I discovered, and I want to give this brother his credit. It was this YouTube channel called Zofra. The name of the channel was Zofra, I believe, or yeah, Zofar? I'm going to just spell it out. It's ZOPHAR1. Now, on this channel, they mentioned something I talked about maybe a couple of months ago at this point. It was the Bleemcast. I don't know if you guys remembered that. I never got any emails about that if you guys remembered the Bleemcast. It was the situation where you could actually play PlayStation games on your Dreamcast. They had Gran Turismo 2, I believe, was one game. Tekken was another game. Metal Gear Solid was another game. And it might have been one or two other games. And I remember I got the Metal Gear Solid one, and it actually up-resed it. It made it look better. It literally played on your Dreamcast. You would put in the Bleemcast disc first, and it would jailbreak it pretty much. And then you would put the Metal Gear Solid disc, the literal PlayStation Metal Gear Solid disc, inside of the Dreamcast, and it would boot on. I was like, this is madness. This was like a HD remake. Now, HD might be I might be being a little extra with that one. But it was a big difference, though. It was a really big difference where it was a lot cleaner. The pixels were a lot sharper. It was like a remaster before remasters were like that. It was dope. And I always wondered, how the heck were they able to actually get this thing on the Dreamcast without PlayStation going after them? And the gentleman, oh man, what's his name? Doggone, I forgot the guy's name. He actually talked about it, and this was the clip that I got, man. Listen to this.
Interesting. Now, just out of curiosity, I don't know how deep you can go with this one, but what do you think, or if you can, why do you think Sega didn't want you or couldn't allow you to use, the GD format?
They did not want the title to be licensed officially by Sega. Gotcha. Because they didn't want to get into a big legal battle.
With Sony. Okay.
With Sony, yeah. They could not put they would happily license the GD-ROM format and allow us to use their libraries, their code, their, whatever, if we got permission from Sony.
Right. Which you knew was likely not going to happen at that juncture.
Right, which was not going to happen. So that meant that everything written for Bleemcast was written from the ground up. It was all done. If a baking analogy would be, it was baked from scratch. So everything is low level. There are no Sega libraries that are used. There's no Sega code that is used. There's no Sony code that's used either. But Sega would not license the technology that they had developed for talking to the chips, to the hardware. So that's why they sent along all the low-level technical specs and technical documentation for all the hardware on the Sega Dreamcast.
Gotcha. A clever way to, ensure that Bleemcast still came out without Sega having to get their hands in it. That makes sense.
That's exactly it.
Man, this was a fantastic interview. It was awesome. Definitely go over to that brother's channel. His name is ZOPHAR1, Zophar1, and the name of the video is the name of it is Bleem, the PlayStation emulator that ran on a Pentium. It was a great interview. The gentleman is also, who actually worked on the Bleemcast, he's also now over at Limited Run Games, so he gets into what got him over there, his transition. It's definitely a very, very good watch, especially, again, if you were into the Bleemcast like myself. But, guys, let's go ahead, though, and let's get into the next story. Man, just check them out. But I got this story from, yet again, WCCF Tech. So just like Starfield, oh man, dirty. Starfield coming to PlayStation. Oh man. Golly. That Joker coming to PlayStation and it's $50. Them jokers said, we ain't even going to charge you full price, man. Look, take this $50 shot and, enjoy that and move on with your life. Now, again, I'm not going to be up here and, talk about the Xbox fans having Starfield first, and now PlayStation is getting a more defined, better game, technically having ground. I believe you get ground vehicles now. It's a couple of things that Todd Howard said that they had worked on. Of course, he said that it's going to be a game that's going to continue to be in progress. This is not the last update. They're going to keep on working at it. And, it's going to get better and better with time. But what I will say is I know that the DLCs are going to be available day and date. Along with these other updates, the DualSense, I'm sure they're going to take advantage of that. But again, the cool thing is that Xbox, they had it for like 2 years. It took almost 3 years, I think, for it to come over on the PlayStation. And of course, they had it early on. So they had to deal with the bugs, the technical difficulties and things of that nature. I don't think that's any of their fault that happened. But, some people, they like to, man, and trust me, I am a huge fan of the console war. I love this stuff. I truly, truly do. Because I think it makes for great competition. That's what it's all about for me. But I will say, just getting back on track really quickly about Starfield. I think that, look, PlayStation is going to be getting it. You're going to be getting a good version. And I just say enjoy it. If it's something you want to play, something you're interested in, go out there and support it. I would truly say for myself, when I saw that trailer for the PlayStation 5, I was like, doggone, this Joker don't look bad. This joint look kind of nice. And it's $50. And I know that Todd Howard, he had went into that in an interview that he had with someone. I wish I could remember the name of the interviewer that was asking him this, but he said it was strategic. They're always looking into pricing, always trying to figure out what's the right price, what's a good price, and he just decided $50 would be that price. And I actually really do appreciate that, because Starfield is an older game, and I think that he was really trying to do that to bring more people into this possible new franchise that they're working on. So I think that was really good of him to do that. And I think that he's going to get a lot of new eyes on it. I'm sitting here contemplating on getting it. I'm like, man, that space combat, that kind of look a little nice, man. Don't look bad at all. But I wasn't even supposed to be really even talking about Starfield right now. But again, Bill Kunn, he had talked about this game actually releasing April 7th the insider. So I gotta shout him out and give him his props. He continues to be a reliable insider. Shout out to you, brother. So let's get into these Death Stranding 2 added features. Now, these features are going to be on PC as well as PlayStation 5. Now, they're going to include new extreme difficulty, new field wear by completing, quote, trapped in a strange realm. That sounds crazy. It's going to be a VR training area where you can relive Sam's confrontations with Neil and Cheryl. I think her name is Cheryl. Feline. It's going to have DHV McGowan. Yeah, Megalon. I guess. Pardon me, God dog. Now it's going to have a photo mode and ultra wide support. Now these updates are coming on March 19th. I ain't even going to spend a lot of time on this one. We going to move on into the next story because, man, I botched the heck out of that. I still do want to get Death Stranding 2. Are any of y'all out there playing Death Stranding 2? Have you booted it up? Have you played it? Have you beat it? Do you like it better than the original? That's what I really want to know. Is anybody out there, any of you awesome listeners out there that played both Death Stranding 1 and Death Stranding 2? Was Death Stranding 2 a better experience? Because I'm really on the fence about getting that game. I really want to pick it up, but I don't want it to be an experience like the first one. Just curious to know. But let's get into the next story. Now, this is according to reports from Zuby Tech. Days Gone developer, this was so good to hear, man. But Days Gone developer Sony Bend is working on their next title. Now, the report says, quote, Sony Bend Studios, creator of Days Gone, Uncharted Golden Abyss, and Siphon Filter, is seeking outstanding talent to join our passionate and creative team in crafting our next high-profile console title. You are the strategic thinker for your teams. Get out front and lead. The ideal candidate will possess a combination of strong project management and communication skills and a passion for making great games. Help us create and launch our next title. I said Sony Bend is back, man. Man, oh man. I gotta tell y'all, Sony Bend was never on my radar until Days Gone. And y'all have heard me talk about Days Gone before. I'm telling y'all, that game has to be one of the most criminally underrated games on PlayStation. That game, I understand that some people want to compare it to, I was about to say Days Gone, my goodness, The Last of Us. But they could not be any different from one another. The only thing that they have in common is they both have zombies. That's about it. Days Gone is massive. The world is huge. You're you're riding on your bike. You're running out of gas. You're trying to figure out where you can get these, the gas tanks from to, fill up your bike. You're going through all of these different buildings. Man, I have never been in so many random buildings in a game. It was sensational. And I'm not talking about just jumping into, buildings that, maybe the first floor you can jump in and, you jump out of the window. No, you could actually get into some of these buildings that were houses and they had an upstairs. You could actually walk around inside. I said, what the frick? It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. Y'all know that The Last of Us Part 2 was my favorite game of last generation. I mean, it was the creme de la creme. From my standpoint, nothing was better in that generation. I'ma tell y'all, Days Gone, man, shucks. That game is on Naughty Dog's bumper. I mean, those jokers on their heels, man. I mean, they are like really nipping at their heels. Days Gone was phenomenal. Phenomenal. I will admit, it took a couple of hours to get used to the game, the mechanics, the bike upgrades, and all of that stuff. But when that thing starts clicking, it's sensational. I would highly recommend getting the PlayStation 5 version of that game. My goodness, I'm just such a huge fan of Sony Bend. I'm just so happy that they are not closing down. I was so nervous that the way things were going, we just saw what happened with Blue Point. They hadn't been active. I'm like, oh, crap, Sony Bend hasn't been active either. Are they about to shut them down? No. So for me, again, this is more of a relief, that we still can get something from Sony Bend Studios, because I'm telling you, if they get the budget that they need, they get to make the game that they want to make. I'm telling you, these guys can do incredible work just based off of Days Gone. These guys are good. Whatever they're working on, I believe in it already. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this is. I know it's going to be a ways off, but again, at least we know this Sony Bend is going to be around for one more project at least. And hopefully they'll be around for a whole lot more. But let's go ahead, though, guys, for the sake of time, because we're almost coming up on that hour. Let's get into the next story. Now, this is in quick news, and I got this story from Gamatsu. Oh, man, listen. This right here. Oh, man, this right here, brothers. Look, I got to tell you, I told y'all this before, man. This game right here is special to me. Y'all tell me if y'all recognize this.
X-Men.
Man, let me tell you something. The Marvel Maximum Collection will release on March 27th, God dog. March 27th, this collection is releasing. I am so excited about this game, man. Let me tell you something. So, it's going to release on March 27th, 2026, digitally on Xbox Series, Switch, and PS5. Now, you will also be able to pre-order the physical edition via limited run games from March 27th to May 24th. I am so excited about this game because it's not only just the X-Men arcade game. You got several other titles that are going to be included in this collection. Now, again, I still didn't see the price, but if I had to guess, I think they're gonna sell this for about $40. That's what I'm hoping. That's the sweet spot. But only, as always, only time will tell. Let's go ahead, though, guys, and let's get into the next story that I actually got from Tech Science Today. Now, in GTA 6 news, and you know what? I gotta preference this with, these are rumors.
Look at all these rumors.
So I'm not sure if y'all remember a guy back from 2022 named Arian. I think his name was Kurtaj. It was spelled Kurtaj. Now, he was a hacker, from that time. Now, if you don't remember him, back in September of 2022, he grabbed some sensitive Rockstar data and spread it online. And as a result, he got locked up behind bars. Because the crazy thing was Arian did this while he was already on probation. So while he was on probation, he went on and took that sensitive information from Rockstar and put it online, and that's what got him locked up. But according to reports, he's actually still in the loop of these illegal things, due to using a smuggled phone. And now this is where I say, man, this is almost starting to sound like a bit of a movie, but he's in jail right now, but according to reports, he's using a smuggled phone where he's exchanged WhatsApp messages with someone named Videotech UK. Now, it was then explained by Arian that the source code could potentially be, quote, in the hands of someone, end of quote. And of course, we're talking about Grand Theft Auto 6. But it's unclear if it's a newly stolen file or a leftover from an earlier hack. Now, to put this in perspective, first, we really don't know if these claims are true. I mean, talking about he smuggled in a phone, he's, in contact with somebody called Videotech UK who's saying that, they could have their hands on, some more, possibly stolen source code from Grand Theft Auto 6. We don't know if that's true. Now, the other thing is, second, Rockstar has reportedly been planting false Grand Theft Auto 6 info to weed out informants. So, I mean, it could be a situation where, hey, in his mind, and according to what he's been being told, he actually does have some source code, but it could be one that Rockstar put out there to possibly get, to get the informants out of the weeds to figure out who are the ones taking their stuff. So it's one of those things where you can't be too sure on who's telling the truth, who's living, vicariously through somebody else's reports, and they really don't know what's happening. So I would say with this story, we got to tread a little, like with all of these rumors, we got to tread very carefully, not get too sucked into it to believe that it is true, but to also keep our eyes open and our ears, to the ground to actually see what really does happen. Because I will say this, if by any chance another data breach for Grand Theft Auto happens, that game, man, brother, that game ain't coming out to 2035, man. We're going to be waiting another 10 years for the situation of Grand Theft Auto 6 to actually materialize. So I am hoping, for the sake of all of us that want to play Grand Theft Auto 6, that nobody tries to leak any code and that everything will continue to go smoothly when it comes to the development of Grand Theft Auto 6. Now, I want to go ahead, though, guys. Man, could you imagine being this doggone close and them jokers get another breach, another data? Man, I would be hot. My goodness, man, I hope that doesn't happen. And they're about to start the campaign for Grand Theft Auto 6 this summer. Yeah, I hope that ain't true. I hope this is not a situation that's happening. Now, let's go ahead, though, guys, because we are pretty much done. Let's get into another story that I got from WCCF Tech. So, again, as always, we got some more rumors. Look at all these rumors. It's about me every day. So, this is more of a follow-up story. So, we heard a few weeks ago from Polish publication, man, I always get these Polish brothers and their business's name so wrong. So, I mean, no offense. So, pardon me if I say it wrong. But it is Strefa. It's spelled Strefa. I'm going to say Strefa in Westoro. It's spelled INWEST. That's in West. OROW. In Westoro. I get, man, pardon me, God dog it. But let's keep going. They actually had said that a rumored Witcher 3 DLC would be releasing in May 2026. But now it appears to be targeting, and that is the so-called Witcher 3 DLC, instead of coming out in May, which I believe would be the Witcher 3's, didn't the Witcher 3 come out in May a couple of years ago? I think that would be like its anniversary. Maybe that's why the report was saying that it was going to be releasing in May of 2026. But now it appears to be targeting a September 2026 release. Now, it's also worth noting that CD Projekt Red has stated, and I quote, no plans for additional DLCs or expansions, end of quote, for Cyberpunk 2077. So The Witcher 3, it could definitely be a situation where, look, they could be taking all of their resources or some of their resources, because we know The Witcher 4 is in active development. So maybe it's a situation where they're taking some of their members. I believe, matter of fact, it is a specific team that is working allegedly on this DLC. I cannot remember the name of the team, and I'm not going to pull up Gemini to try to figure it out, but they could have this in the works. But the thing is that, yeah, the game is going to turn 11 years old on May 19th, so of this year. So, maybe instead of the game releasing in May or May 19th, not the game, but the DLC releasing around that time, maybe we get an update about the game instead. Well, I should say the DLC. Maybe we get an update instead and, possibly see something, with the game running on the PlayStation 5 Pro. That would be incredible. Speaking of the PS5 Pro, they did say that there is going to be an upgraded version of Cyberpunk 2077 that will be coming to the PlayStation 5 Pro. So maybe in the next coming months or weeks, maybe we get more information on this so-called Witcher 3 DLC that's supposed to combine the Witcher 3 bridging the gap between the Witcher 3 and the Witcher 4. The other thing I did want to let you guys know is we know that PSSR 2.0 is officially out now. Now, I did give you guys a list of games that were going to be compatible with it, but on that list, some of those games are not compatible right now. So, again, and this story is from WCCF. Man, I went to them a lot this week. But these are the games that are officially compatible, PSSR 2.0 compatible right now. So these games will work, and they are as follows. You got Silent Hill 2 Remake, Silent Hill F, Dragon Age The Veilguard, Monster Hunter Wilds, Dragon's Dogma 2, Crimson Desert. Ooh, nice. Crimson Desert, Rise of the Ronin, Neo 3, Control. Man, Control looks great on the PS5. Alan Wake 2, that's nice. Senua's Saga, H-Blade 2, God. Oh. These jokers keep taking Xbox games and trying to make them look prettier. Man, stuff is crazy. Trying to take your girl. Trying to put her in mink coats and whatnot. This stuff is crazy. Out of the list of games, They got an Xbox game right here, doggone Senua Saga, H-Blade 2. I don't even see a first-party PlayStation game on this list. And y'all doggone out here making Senua look real nice, I'm sure, in H-Blade 2. That's crazy. And you got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth as well. They said, let me see here real quick. Shadows is going to be there as well. It's not there right now, but that game will be coming in the future. The last thing, I guess, guys, before we wrap this episode up, I guess the last thing I wanted to mention, and it's not necessarily a story that I wrote down, but I want to know, why is everybody upset with DLSS 5? I mean, this thing is getting unreal, just crazy backlash. And I just don't understand it. I mean, when you look at what that doggone DLSS did to Starfield, oh my gosh. Resident Evil 9, man, shucks. I said, God, dog, look at the graphics. It looks so good. Now, I know that some people, they got into some other stuff talking about that's not how the artist intended it to be. Looks like a filter is on the characters. Doesn't look like it goes with the art style. I understand all of that, and I'm not tripping on that too much per se. Well, I mean, listen. Maybe to a certain degree, but it wasn't that serious. To me, I was looking at the results. The results of what this thing is able to do is fantastic results. That's all I was worried about. So I want y'all to let me know, what was the problem? Did y'all have a problem with DLSS 5 when you saw it? Were you like, man, this is that AI slop that, I don't want? I didn't look at it like that. I looked at it like, this is a dope tool. If it's able to do this, when you turn it on, oh, shucks. This is like having a remaster, not even a remaster. This is like having a remake button built into your system. Man, I don't like the way that looked. Remake, bam, hit the button. And it's like, oh my gosh, look at the amazing graphics that have all of a sudden appeared on my screen. Man, I thought it was dope. I said, look, I hope more of this happens. I hope that it's a situation where all games doggone incorporate.
What did he say?
Man, God dog, I'm just saying, I think that it would be awesome if everybody incorporated this. I think that this could be huge, man. This could be a great thing.
What you talking about, Willis?
Man, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I think that this is really dope. But I want to get you guys' thoughts on this, man. Did DLSS 5 make you upset? And did it make you feel like this is more of that, I guess, that AI slop that everybody is talking about? Man, let me know your thoughts. But anyway, that is the end of the gaming news this week. And as always, I want to truly thank you guys for being here, because if y'all aren't here listening, the show is truly not worth doing. So thank y'all so much for the support. So with that being said, before we tie this thing up and put a bow on it, always remember one thing. It is not about the consoles. It is about the games. So we will be back at it again on Sunday with listener feedback. I think that's when I'm going to make listener feedback. That's going to be on Sunday, and the news show is going to be on Wednesday. So until then, on Sunday, when I see you again, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye. Hold up. Bonus stage. Man, breaking news, doggone it. I meant to mention this. Xbox has got an update. These jokers got a dashboard update. So this is the thing. I got this story from PureXbox.com. I'm literally looking at it as the show was ending. It's saying new console features are coming. Xbox Series XS is getting its first dashboard update in ages. QuickTime Resume upgrade included. So let's see what they're talking about. It's going to be more groups on Xbox Home. You're going to have custom color settings, quick resume settings, Xbox Guide profile badges. It says, we've heard you. This is the quote. We've heard you want more ways to customize home. So we're expanding the number of groups you can add from 2 to 10. Managing groups is now easier too, as reordering now uses the same familiar experience as reordering games on home. We've also made it more intuitive to pin groups to home in my games and apps and made it easier to see which groups are already added. End of quote. He says, we know expression and personalization matters. That's why we're introducing custom colors, giving you more ways to express yourself across the console. Instead of being limited to the existing system colors, you can now create a custom color that's uniquely yours. Use the sliders to dial in the perfect hue and shade for you. You'll also see a subtle splash of your chosen color in your guide, which you can turn off at any time in settings, general personalization, customize the guide. Man, that's where I'm going to end it. If any of you actually heard this, I don't know, this segment of the show, because the show is supposed to be over, I want you to just, if you email the show or if you send a voicemail, just say Akuma Matata. You know what? Just say Lion King if you heard this part of the podcast, because this was a bit of a bonus. I wasn't expecting to get this information right here, right now, but we just went over it. Now we can officially get out of here. We are out.